Hello and welcome to another Train Sim World 2 video, and really this one is a bit of an announcement and I'm not sure what I'm going to be calling it. However, let's just begin by saying that all this footage has obviously come from the game. I'm going to be doing a variety of things in this video in the background. I'm just talking over pre-recorded content like most of my videos except for streams. So in the last Train Sim World video I probably did something about the West Coast Railway DLC, and that is because I recently purchased it at the time of me releasing that video. The issue is we had a problem with YouTube and we weren't able to upload anything. By we I mean me. So that was to do with the PS4 basically not wanting to connect to my YouTube account, and it's been doing that a number of times since, but I think I'm over the worst of it. I think I know how to fix it now. It's basically an issue of resetting the connection to the account and also resetting the actual PS4 itself, and it should register that I've done that and then hopefully work. So the reason this video has taken a long time to reach you is because of several reasons. First reason is of course that YouTube issue, but then also I've been working on a playthrough of GTA San Andreas in the background, and I haven't actually announced that until now. So that playthrough, we are quite a ways into it in terms of the actual content, but when you'll be seeing those videos, what you'll be seeing is stuff that I've done possibly months into the past, and also commentary that's months into the past. And the reason being is because I want to get those videos to be the best quality that they can possibly be. And the issue with San Andreas is that there's a lot of copyrighted content that's in the actual game itself, and also because I want to upload some nice looking thumbnails for my videos, and the only way to do that without showing you the, quite honestly, not very good thumbnails that are already on the videos from Share Factory, the only way to do that is to put them as unlisted. Now if you're over the age of 18, then I recommend you obviously check that out. But if you're under the age of 18, I recommend obviously you don't. It's an 18 rated game, and I can't endorse or condone anybody under that age playing the game. Now I know that people still do play it who are under that age, but still. Don't want to get into trouble. All the content is marked not for kids. It won't ask you to verify your age. I'm just going on the fact that the videos that I go on to, they don't ask me to verify my age most of the time, so I'm just going on that basis that things are going to be fine. So yeah, just do as you normally would as far as YouTube goes when it comes to those videos whenever we're going to see them. I don't have an expected release date for those yet, but I tell you what we do have, or what I do have for you today. I've got a bunch of updates for Train Sim World 2 to dish out, so that is why I decided to make this big announcement video that's about 30 minutes long. So let's begin with the content that we've already seen since I've been away from YouTube. So what we've already seen is we've seen the Arosa line. I know it's called Arosa Linee technically or something like that, but I'm just going to say Arosa line. We saw that one. That came out as normal. Clinchfield Railroad, that came out as well. And Hamburg to Lubeck, we also had that one. So I think that's all the DLCs we've actually had. I think we've had a loco DLC for probably one of the German routes that we had before, maybe for Hamburg to Lubeck, something like that. And from what I can gather, there have been some issues with two of those DLCs. The issue being is that with the Clinchfield Railroad DLC, the issue has most likely been completely fixed now. Is that the the brakes on the train that was included in the DLC, the F2, I think it's the F2. There was an issue with the brakes, so Dovetail did release a little help video, a help article explaining what to do if you're in that situation. that was very kind of them to do, and I'm assuming that they've completely fixed the issue because it was a while ago that we saw Clinchfield. A rust line, I don't think there was any issues with that one per se, maybe some small niggly bugs here and there. And then finally we've got Hamburglar. Now this one was apparently fraught with problems on the day of release, and I believe they are right now working on patching it at the moment. That was what I gathered from Tuesday the 18th of May's roadmap stream. Now if you don't know what a roadmap stream is, basically Dovetail Games, they do roadmap streams which explain things that are upcoming in the game. They don't really give release dates, but what they do is they basically talk about things that they've been working on and go through the roadmap which is published on the main Train Sim World 2 site. So if you want to see either of those things, the stream is on YouTube, and the roadmap is, as I said before, on the Train Sim World 2 website. Just search it up and you'll find a page at the top saying roadmap. So yeah, that's it. That's as far as the stuff that we've had. And in that roadmap stream, we got a little bit of an insight into how Dovetail works. I'm not sure if they've told us before, but basically the team are working constantly. So there hasn't really been a point where they've been able to breathe and take a rest, really, at all. And basically, the long and short of it is that the quality assurance people, you know, playtesters, they are working 24/7, near enough. So they work every single day in order to test whether there are issues with the game and obviously patch those out as soon as they possibly can. And obviously your suggestions and your reports do help too. So when you report an issue, you should probably go to the forums to do that. You can make an account there if you want to make your own little report. So yeah, but most of the time an issue that you've discovered will probably have already been reported by somebody else, or if it's just not on there, then I recommend obviously putting a report in if you're having any problems. And they will do some troubleshooting with you if it's something that they can fix at the moment, like on the same day, but obviously understand that it might take a while for these patches to come out. And that's near enough it. Now what have we got upcoming for Train Sim World 2? Well, we've got quite a few things. The first thing that I'm interested in, I'm only delivering what I'm interested in because it's relevant to my videos. We've got, they say that this DLC is coming out first, so I'm going to believe them on that. I'm going to say that yeah, this DLC is probably coming out first because it's been moved to upcoming, and when it hits next arrival then we'll have like a release date probably in a trailer to go along with it. It's the Glasgow Cathcart Circle DLC, which in my GTA San Andreas playthrough I was talking about it and I mentioned that it was done by Rivet Games. It's not, it's done by Dovetail. So Dovetail are the ones that are working on Glasgow Cathcart Circle. Right, I got it wrong. I got into my head that they were doing, that Rivet Games were working on it. It's not, it's Dovetail. But still, they're working with Dovetail, and, you know, Dovetail works with Rivet Games, etc. So, kinda right, kinda wrong. Either way, it doesn't really matter who's working on it. What matters is that it's coming. And we're going to be getting the Class 314 with that one. That's an EMU, an electric multiple unit, which we've seen a lot of. The Class 374, Class 375 is an example. This very train that we're driving right now, the 395, that's an example. The 465, my favourite train so far, that's another example. Basically there are a lot of electric multiple units, but the Class 314 is quite a special one. Special one indeed. It'll be featured in Carmine and Cream Strathclyde, yeah, Strathclyde Partnership for Transport livery. And interestingly enough, the Class 314, 15 train sets were built in total from the year 1979, I believe so. and 14 out of the 15 have been scrapped at this point, and one of them still remains. It's a hydrogen powered thing. It's designed to be a demonstration for ScotRail's vision into the future, where they're going to stop using diesel powered trains on their network. Now, that happened in 2019, where they were officially withdrawn, the 314s, and the DLC is estimated to take a place around 2015-16 sort of time, maybe slightly before, because that's when the 314s were kind of at their peak, right? So after that point, they were slowly phased out by other trains that we maybe would see in future DLCs. Now, I'm hoping that they picked the right year for that to happen, otherwise fans are probably going to be screaming into the sky, "What have you done, Dovetail? You've got the year of these locomotives taking over wrong." Well, if we are to have any local DLCs, it's going to have to be one of them, because I don't know of any other trains that were running on the Cathcart Circle around that time. So yeah, it's probably going to have to be those if we are going to get any local DLCs. There's a couple of theories out there for what we might get. Cathcart Circle itself, it either includes 5 miles of route or 17 miles, and that's a big jump. And the reason it's a big jump is because the circle itself that it's referring to is 5 miles long. However, the 17 miles includes all the branch lines, and I'm thinking it's quite likely that we're going to get 17 miles worth of route. It's remaining to be seen, because as usual with Dovetail, nothing's confirmed until we get close to the release date and we've seen the stream. Now, I don't think 5 miles worth of route is good enough for their usual price tags. So usually their content for DLC goes for $19.99 or $24.99. It's either one of the two. And basically, we're kind of thinking that it has to be 17 miles of route, because otherwise 5 miles and one locomotive for $19.99, that would be absolutely ludicrous. So we're just kind of sitting here thinking we're 99.9% sure that they're going to give us 17 miles worth of route in that DLC. But the bottom line is that I'm probably going to try and pick it up on release day. Now, it may have some issues. A lot of DLCs have issues on launch day, and if it's anything game breaking, then I'm going to try and avoid it if I can. Hopefully when they do a stream, a preview thing, people will pick up on some issues and they will patch those out, hopefully by the time that we see it released. Or they may have a patch ready for us, we don't know. So yeah, that's Glasgow Cathcart Circle. And next on the list is going to be Cane Creek. I'm not interested in Cane Creek, but they say that it's coming out after Glasgow. So once again in my San Andreas Let's Play, I stated that the Class 313 would probably be coming around the same time as the Glasgow DLC. And you know, maybe it won't, because according to what Sam and Adam said today being the 18th of May 2021, in terms of when I'm recording this, they said that we're going to see Glasgow, then Cane Creek, and then the 313, but obviously nothing's been confirmed, so that's just what they're thinking at the moment. So anyway, it still applies. If you like Cane Creek and you like the sound of it, it turns out that Adam is really impressed with how Cane Creek is looking at the moment. So is Sam. Both of them have obviously seen some screenshots. There is a screenshot, I think, that is available for that, maybe, if you look on the articles. Apparently, according to Adam, Skyhook Games, who are working on Cane Creek, they do excellent representations of sort of that kind of environment that Cane Creek is actually in. So yeah, we're hoping it's going to be a really good looking DLC. Now, even if I'm not interested in it, if you are, then feel free to learn some new stuff about it, as and when you can. And then next on the list, Class 313. This one, special thing about 313s and also 314s to an extent is the fact that 313s and 314s are basically the same thing, exterior wise, except for the livery. Now interior wise, these trains are going to be different because the ones in Scotland did not receive a refurbishment at the time of the DLC set, but the Class 313s that are operating on East Coast, where, you know, the East Coast mainline sort of area, those ones have received a refurbishment by the time that DLC was actually set. So it means that interior wise they are probably going to be different from each other. And there is another difference which I don't think anyone's really picked up on except me. I'm leaning this sort of way because I've looked at pictures of both the 314 and the 313. 313s and obviously their sister locomotives, electric multiple units. They were the first passenger trains in the UK or possibly the world to have both a pantograph and shoe gear for the actual third rail. Now what we're using today, this 395, this one does have a pantograph and it also has the shoe gear, so it's in a similar sort of vein as the 313. Now the one that we're getting for East Coast Way, I think it's only got the shoe gear. Now the reason being is because I've looked up pictures of the 313 on the East Coast Way in real life, and none of them have a pantograph. So I'm thinking that they had their pantographs removed, kind of like, I think the 377 and 375 have also had theirs removed. Possibly, it looks like there was a pantograph on top of one of the carriages, but there's nothing there now, so I'm just guessing here. And the one in Glasgow will have a pantograph but no shoe gear, I'm guessing, because they actually do have overhead lines to draw the power from. So yeah, that's an interesting difference as well. Maybe the 314 might have shoe gear, we really don't know. I mean, I haven't seen any evidence of that in real life or otherwise, so yeah, I won't be surprised though if they use different power systems between the two just to further differentiate them. But if you're in Scenario Planner, that really won't matter too much because you can use whatever train you want in Scenario Planner if you take it off the rails, like I always do, because it's just fun to drive whatever trains you want anywhere. I mean, here we're driving a 395, which normally wouldn't be able to run here because there's no third rail and no overhead line, but hey, Scenario Planner makes it possible. And there is one last thing on the list, it's the Rush Hour DLC, which is due this summer. Now, they do say that around August time is a good estimation of when it'll be done. So, kind of the end of the summer there, with August. But good news is that we do have quite a good idea of what's coming in that. They've detailed the routes, the 3 routes that are going to be included in that one specific pack. So if you want to read about those, they've got that on the roadmap basically. Brighton Main Line, NEC, North Eastern Corridor, Providence to Boston, I believe. And there's a German route in there which I didn't note the name down because I'm not really interested in German routes. As for whether I'm interested in that, I mean, Brighton possibly, but the other ones, yeah, I don't think it's really going to be worth it for me to buy all 3 of them, but who knows, maybe one day I'll change my mind if they're really good routes. And you can read more about them. They have a specific section on the Dovetail website, the Train Sim World 2 website, called Rush Hour, so you can read about that there, and they do have advertisements sort of in-game in the loading screens to prompt you that, yeah, it's coming. Yeah, so what else am I interested in with regards to the roadmap? Well, there's the core update, which they've been talking about for a little bit. That's going to be, we don't know when, but it's probably going to be sometime this year, maybe even next year, and that's just improving things across the board with the whole game. And then we've also got something in planning, which is quite interesting. We've got Penzance to Truro and St Ives on the West Cornwall local line. That one is going to be developed by Rivet Games. Of that I'm sure, because it says it right next to the DLC list. And interesting story with that specific DLC, West Cornwall. So Rivet Games on their website basically said that they are going to be developing it, but they got the era code wrong. So interesting enough, all the DLCs put out for Train Sim World and Train Sim World 2, they do have codes, and basically users have noticed that the codes make sense, they've garnered things from them, and Dovetail themselves have basically given like a forums thread where you can see what all the code letters and numbers mean. And the era code for West Cornwall is era 6, which is 1991 to 2010. So that gives you a very, it's narrow in the terms of, you could be thinking any time for that kind of route. You could be thinking in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, maybe even the 2020s, because we're into those now. But no, it's era 6, 1991 to 2010, and that narrows things down quite a lot. Now before they said it was era 5, so that would imply 1951 to 1990, which is, again, that's a big range right there. But still, in terms of the whole scope, it's quite small, it narrows it down. And there are some other code words on there that you can find out if you want to look up that specific thing. If you search up Train Sim World DLC codes or something like that, you'll probably be able to find that exact thread. And yeah, that's pretty interesting. Now with that specific DLC, West Cornwall, obviously it's in the planning stage, and when it's in that stage we don't really know a whole lot, but I garnered a few ideas from a bunch of forums users and also people on the wiki. Now, pretty much about a few days after it was announced on one of the roadmaps, there was a little page on the Dovetail sort of Train Sim World wiki. It has a specific wiki for it, and it was obviously featured on there as an upcoming DLC, and people were basically writing down what they thought was going to be in the DLC itself. Now that they've narrowed it down, I think I'm beginning to think that I'm okay to say this. Probably going to be something like a Class 150 Sprinter, and also a HST, the Class 43, just an older version of it. I'm guessing that I'm safe in those kind of assumptions, because I can't think of anything else that was running on that line at the time, and I haven't seen a single mention of a Class 101 anywhere, which is a good news for me, because I really don't want to see another 101 in another DLC ever again for Train Sim World. Like maybe in a future Train Sim World game, but just not in this one, because so far in the Train Sim World series we've had 3 instances where we've seen a Class 101 in a DLC. So and I've actually got 2 out of the 3, even though they're absolutely all of them are identical, by the way. Now I don't think the 101 ran along that line, but at least not in 1991, but we'll have to see. But I'm shooting for, I'm hoping it's a 150 Sprinter, and I'm hoping it's going to be also a HST, an older one. I'm also hoping for maybe a Pacer unit if they were using them at the time. So yeah, just hoping for some good locomotives there. Nice good old diesel power. That's what we need. That's what we need in these older DLCs. Because I like diesel trains. I also like electric trains as well, but diesels have a charm about them because they just make a load of noise, you know. And it really does push the immersion levels up when you can actually hear the train that you're driving. I think they said that same sort of thing in the roadmap, actually. The roadmap stream. They basically said that yes, we want to try and make this as immersive as possible. And being able to hear something is very immersive indeed, in my opinion. Now, before we wrap up, I've just got one last thing to say. We are on the Tees Valley line now. It's quite important to realise this, but some of the routes in Train Sim World 2 for me don't seem to work right. Now, Great Western Express is the only one that still has this issue, where if you stop at the stations, the actual passenger door operation, it just doesn't work. In that passengers don't actually get on and off your train, it doesn't register that you've opened them or closed them. Now, on Tees Valley line, that used to be the case because they accidentally broke it with one of the patches. However, it now seems to be completely fixed as I'm driving along it. Great Western Express, still broken. Brighton, you know, East Coast Way, that still has a problem with the doors not registering on the right side of the platform as they're supposed to be, but that's only in one direction still, so I can just deliberately avoid putting it in that direction for the moment until that's fixed, hoping that they get fixed soon. And no more changes to the scenario planning world, which is what I use for my videos, so yeah, I'd say things have definitely improved with TSW line getting fixed. Now I can at least use it again. And yeah, when we get the 314 and 213, I'll probably try and make videos on those, using them on various different routes, as well as the ones that they meant to go on. So thanks very much for watching this video. I'm sorry it was quite long. We had a lot of things to discuss and bring up, but I hope you come away from this more informed than you were before. I'm excited for a bunch of things to do with this game, so thanks very much for watching once again. I know I already said that, but thank you. And have a nice day. Please do tune into any of my other videos if you're interested, but yeah, see you around.